Hi, and welcome to my concept plan for an event held at USC. My name is Willem Langford, and this is the USC Drive In. I've been tasked with designing an event for USC that's within easy access of one of their campuses. For this task, I've chosen my home campus of USC Sippy Downs. However, before the event can be conceptualized, there are a few things that must be considered. First and foremost, the scope. This determines the outside reaches and limitations of our event, which gives us some guidelines on how we can develop our mission. This is in broad strokes what we hope to achieve. Next, we must consider the need or demand for the event, both from USC itself and from our target audience. This is something else that we must consider when designing an event so that we can tailor it and design our objectives around this. Objectives are specific deliverables within the event itself. To achieve objectives, we will need a team. That's where we need an organizational structure with clearly outlined roles and responsibilities. All of this will be covered in the presentation. Firstly, let's talk about the scope and constraints. And what better place to start than what makes the world turn? The budget. USC have proposed an initial budget of $2,000. However, we may augment this through sponsorship or revenue gained through the event. The next thing to consider is the location or venue. USC have outlined that the event must be held at or within easy access of a USC campus or facility. For this, I have chosen USC Sippy Downs, which is my home campus, at the free car park. The third thing to consider is the time. USC have provided us with an outline that the event must take place within the semester and must not take place for over more than one day. This means it can't take place over Wednesday, Thursday, or a weekend. It has to take place over one day. However, there is no constraint over what time the event must be specifically. The mission of the USC Drive-In is to provide a recreational activity for USC students and the broader Sunshine Coast community. This is helpful for marketing of USC, so we can market ourselves as a university which is very active within our community. We'd also love for this to be commercially successful. This might go without saying, but we need to make money so that we can keep the event going, which we'd love to do, make it a recurring event so that we can continue to develop these bonds of ourselves being strongly intertwined with the community. However, we would like to play by the rules, so we're going to do so while complying with all of the guidelines set out by USC events. Now let's consider the need or demand for an event like this. Firstly, from a consumer point of view. There's been a huge resurgence of popularity for vintage culture. Things like Polaroids, cassettes, vinyls, film cameras, and indeed, drive-in movie theaters. However, there's a severe lack of supply, and people are clamoring for this type of event. Now, from a supplier point of view, that's us at USC events, we have a huge lack of events, with only 3 being publicly advertised on our own website. If we saw this gap in the market and seized it to release an enduring event, then people would see us as a university which is completely in touch with the community. And while we should be concerned with engaging and targeting the community with this event, we should be much more concerned with targeting the students at USC. They're the people who are going to be really excited by this, the fact that their university is holding an event. We can even incentivize them to come by giving them discounts or pre-sale. It'll feel like it's an event just for them. However, in order to achieve our goal of establishing the USC Drive-In as a recurring recreational event which ties us to the community and entertains our very own USC students, we must have objectives and deliverables for the night of the event in question. The first of which is setting up a projection system, for without a movie screen, there can be no drive-in movie. We will work with experts to establish the best point for the screen, the sound system, and the cars to be parked. However, this will require specific traffic control so that the cars can be parked in a particular order for everybody to be able to see and hear properly. Traffic control is also important for entering and exiting efficiently and not causing any traffic for a main road. The next point to consider is waste management. We must have waste management strategies, including rubbish bins and portable toilets. Last but not least, we need to have a security management so that people who are not ticketed cannot enter the premises, and so that we can have somebody to control the crowd. So, what organizational structure will we need in order to achieve these objectives? First and foremost, we'll need an events coordinating team. This is the team that will organize all of the following teams and ensure that the event has the means to succeed ahead of time. Next, we have the operations team. They're responsible for coordination and execution of tasks throughout the event itself. They will also be helping many of the other teams and supplementing them, as well as doing the ticketing at the front gate. Next, we have the projectionists. This is in charge of all of the AV aspects of the event, including setting up and supplying the film itself. Next, let's talk about our traffic controllers. Again, comprised mostly of the operations team, the traffic controller's main duty is controlling the flow of traffic so that we do not cause congestion for the roadways surrounding the area or indeed our very own drive-in cinema. The traffic controllers will also be tasked with making sure that everybody is parked in the correct place. This will ensure that everybody will be able to see and hear the movie properly, but more importantly, that we'll be able to execute our evacuation plan so that nobody's blocking any exits. The next people to talk about are the waste management team. These will be the people in control of the waste on site, including portable toilets and rubbish bins. The operations team will also help with general cleanup after the event. The last team to talk about is security. And while USC does have campus security, it's my intention to ensure that an outside security company can be used. Their job is to prevent access to people without tickets from entering the site and providing crowd control in case of any emergencies or conflicts. Now that I've gone over the event, I'd like to reanalyze our goals using the SMART method. That's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. Our first goal was to engage the Sunshine Coast community, and more specifically, USC students, to provide them with a recreational, recurring event. I think this is extremely attainable and relevant, seeing as USC only have 3 events advertised. There's a huge gap in the market. We would just like to fill it. Again, given that this is a recurring event, it's going to be easy to measure the amount of community engagement we achieve. Ideally, it will be month to month, and so we can just look at how many tickets we sell one month compared to another. Our next goal is to be financially successful. This is the first event of many, hopefully. And so the $2,000 budget does help with establishing infrastructure. However, from that point onwards, we would love to be financially successful just based on ticketing. This can be judged over the first 3 months of the event and is easily measurable due to the nature of finance. Our last goal was to do all of this while complying with the USC guidelines. This is something that USC and the event coordinators will have to work together on, and each event can get better and be ensured to be responsible. Thank you for your consideration, and I hope to see you at the drive-in.